Welcome back to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie, and today we are out on location. We are at IVR Restaurant and Bar out in Kaukauna. They are going to be one of the restaurants at the Kimberly Fashion Show coming up in 2 weeks. They're going to be providing some appetizers for you at the fashion show. So Jill and I thought it would be fun to visit them, get a taste of the appetizers, and talk about some books regarding fashion. So Jill, kick us off.
All right, my first book is The Secret Lives of Dresses. Every dress has a story. Let me tell you mine. Dora is in love with a man she barely notices her, has a job she doesn't care about, and dresses entirely for comfort, not style. All a far cry from her vivid, eccentric childhood, growing up with her beloved grandmother, Mimi. However, when disaster strikes, Dora knows she has no choice but to return to her childhood home and take over running Mimi's vintage clothing shop. And there she makes a surprising discovery. Mimi's been writing stories to accompany every dress she sells. Romantic, heartbreaking tales about each one's secret life before it got to her shop. Dora starts to matchmake these lonely frocks with new owners, but will the stories help her as well? Trading her boring high street clothes for vintage glamour is one thing. What she needs to know is whether she can trade her safe old life and love for something better too. A captivating and enchanting novel for every girl who knows that the right dress can change your life. This was published in 2011. Secret Lives of Dresses.
My first pick, hope you can see this. This is Jane Austen's Fashion Bible, and this was compiled and edited by Ross Ballister, and this was just published last year. So two beautifully crafted worlds are brought together in the celebration of Regency fashion and the writings of Jane Austen. Exquisite color drawings from Regency magazine to La Belle Assemblée and their entertaining descriptions are matched with much-loved passages from Jane Austen's published novels, letters, and manuscripts. The professor who wrote this lively commentary guides the reader through the fascinating book, from elaborate evening gowns and elegant walking dresses to charming seaside outfits. Jane Austen's Fashion Bible brings to life the world of Jane Austen through fashion. So kind of an interesting thing. Find that in the nonfiction section. So it's got the drawings.
Yeah, that's some cool fashion. My next one is 9 Women, One Dress, a novel that brings, this is by Jane L. Rosen. This is published in 2016. Novel that brings together 9 unrelated women, each touched by the same little black dress that weaves through their lives, bringing a little magic with it. Natalie is Bloomington's salesgirl mooning over her lawyer ex-boyfriend who's engaged to someone else after just 2 months. Felicia has been quietly in love with her happily married boss for 20 years, and now that he's a lonely widower, she needs the right situation to make him see her as more than the best executive assistant in Midtown Manhattan. Andrea is a private detective specializing in gathering evidence and cheating husbands, skills she unfortunately learned from her own life and can't figure out why her intuition tells her the guy she's tailing is one of the good ones when she hasn't trusted a man in years. For these 3 women, as well as half a dozen others in the sparkling supporting roles, a young model fresh from rural Georgia, a diva Hollywood star making her Broadway debut, an overachieving unemployed brown grad starts faking a fabulous life on social media, to name a few. Everything is about to change thanks to the dress of the season, the perfect little black number everyone wants to get their hands on. So 9 women, 1 dress.
You know me, I always got to throw murder in with whatever topic we've got. So this one is A Fashionably French Murder by Colleen Cambridge, and also published last year. American expat Tabitha Knight has found a new life in post-war Paris, along with a delightful friend and aspiring chef, Julia Child. Yet there are perils in peacetime too, as a killer infiltrates one of the city's most famous fashion houses. If there's one art the French have mastered, as well as fine cuisine, it's haute couture. Tabitha and Julia are already accustomed to sampling the delights of the former. Now fashion is returning to the forefront in Paris as the somber hues of wartime are replaced by vibrant colors and ultra-feminine silhouettes influenced by Christian Dior's new look. Tabitha and Julia join a friend for a private showing at their fashion store, and the event goes well, but when Tabitha returns later that evening to search for a lost glove, she finds the lights still on and the courtier dead, strangled by a length of lace. The shop manager suspects that a jealous rival, perhaps Dior himself, committed the crime. Tabitha dismisses that idea, but when another body is found, it's apparent that someone is targeting this fashion house. Meanwhile, Tabitha's grandpère and Uncle Ralph are in the midst of their own design-related fracas as they squabble over how to decorate their new restaurant. There are strange break-ins at a nearby shoe store, but are all these crimes related? It's up to Tabitha to don her investigative hat and find answers before someone commits another fatal fashion faux pas. Mouthful.
Fatal fashion faux pas.
So, if you're interested in all of this and what's happening, check out A Fashionably French Murder by Colleen Cambridge. And I have to say, you can see my hand. Jill and I both have henna tattoos also. There's going to be a henna artist at the fashion show, and we just got these done this week by Nita, who did a beautiful job with our henna. So
you can feel fancy. It's a great day out. If you haven't bought tickets yet, do so. This is Mrs. Lincoln's Dressmaker, the Mary Todd Lincoln #1 in a series by Jennifer Ciavarini, who I believe is a Wisconsin author.
She's popular, too.
In Mrs. Lincoln's Dressmaker, novelist Jennifer Ciavarini presents a stunning account of the friendship that blossomed between Mary Todd Lincoln and her seamstress, Elizabeth Lizzie Keckley, a former slave who gained her professional reputation in Washington, D.C. by outfitting the city's elite. Keckley made history by sewing for First Lady Mary Todd Lincoln within the White House, a trusted witness to many private moments between the president and his wife, two of the most compelling figures in American history. In March 1861, Mrs. Lincoln chose Keckley, among a number of applicants, to be her personal modiste, responsible not only for creating the First Lady's gowns, but also for dressing Mrs. Lincoln in the beautiful attire Keckley had fashioned. The relationship between the women quickly evolved as Keckley was drawn into the intimate life of the Lincoln family, supporting Mary Todd Lincoln in the loss of her son, and then her husband to the assassination that stunned the nation and the world. Keckley saved scraps from the dozens of gowns she made for Mrs. Lincoln, eventually piecing together a tribute known as Mary Todd Lincoln Quilt. She also saved memories, which she fashioned into a book. Behind the Scenes, 30 Years a Slave and 4 Years in the White House. Upon its publication, Keckley's memoir created a scandal that compelled Mary Todd Lincoln to sever all ties with her. But in the decades since, Keckley's story has languished in the archives. In this impeccably researched novel, Ciavarini brings history to life in rich, moving style. This was published in 2013, and I think we've recommended this before, but it's a good one.
That's on my to-be-read. It's been there for quite a while. My next pick is, I don't know if I can get the whole title on the bottom, Paul Gorman's Granny Takes a Trip, High Fashion and High Times at the Wildest Rock and Roll Boutique. Granny Takes a Trip was more than just a shop and a fashion brand. It was the original rock and roll clothes boutique, the template for all that followed. What started as an odd retail venture, art installation in a depressed part of London, known as World's End, became an international byword for a glam decadence in Manhattan and Hollywood, combining the flamboyant style and manner of countercultural activity to attract everyone from Marianne Faithfull and Anita Pallenberg to Elton John, Jimi Hendrix, Miles Davis, Mick Jagger, Rod Stewart, the Beatles, and Lou Reed. Unfolding over a decade and a half, this tumultuous story involves a cast of often unique, sometimes entitled, unusually talented and troubled individuals on a collective mission to shake up austere, repressed, class-ridden Britain and white bread America. Some achieve this at great personal cost as darkness, addiction, and tragedy stalk those behind the extraordinary shop facades. Much mythologized, but never told, this cautionary tale has now found its definitive chronicler in celebrated cultural historian Paul Gorman, who has had firsthand access to accounts at all the principal figures, as well as notes for a memoir and a much-treasured scrapbook by Freddie Hornick, the tailoring entrepreneur who survived the death marches of Central Europe after World War II to acquire Granny Takes a Trip in the late 60s and transform it into an unparalleled pop cultural force. It's a beautifully illustrated book with archival images of the shop, the principal players, and the clothes themselves, and the book concludes with never-seen-before 48-page tour through the Rolling Stones' wild wardrobe of sartorial delights tailored and sold in the original shop. So if you're a fan of old rock and roll fashion, this is the book for you. Granny Takes a Trip, High Fashion and High Times at the Wildest Rock and Roll Boutique.
This one's more about a store. They all came to Barney's, a personal history of the world's greatest store. This is by Jean Pressman, was published in 2025, so it's brand new. This is the story of Barney's, not just from the store on 17th Street. It's also the story of glitz and grit in New York and the fashion diaspora from Europe to America to Asia, and the family that was in the middle of it all. Jean Pressman takes us on an insider's journey through the history of his family's business as he grows into his own as a scion of retail. He gives us secrets to Barney's success and its failure in a riotous, scandal-filled adventure perfect for the dreamers and entrepreneurs in all of us. When the eldest Pressman, Barney, opened his eponymous store of suits in 1923, he couldn't have imagined that his son and grandsons would transform it into a global empire that revolutionized fashion, retail in the way we know it today. Though backroom handshake deals with designers, nights out in New York clubs, rock and roll concerts, and world tours of fashion's most exclusive catwalks, the Pressmans came to dress an entire generation of celebrities, models, CEOs, sultans, and people around the world. Take a front row seat to the rise, some of the biggest names in fashion. Armani, Alea, Winter, Meisel, by the store that made it all happen. Even as the family disagreements, cost overruns, and scandals began to tear it apart from the inside. So, y'all came to Barney's if you want to hear like the history of this store that I've never been to.
No, me neither.
I've heard of it, that's for sure.
My next pick is a fiction pick. This is A Taste of Sage by Yafa S. Santos. This was published in 2020. Lumi Santana is a chef with a gift. She can perceive a person's emotions by tasting their cooking. Despite being raised by a mother who taught her that dreams and true love were silly fairy tales, she puts her heart and savings into opening her own fusion restaurant in Upper Manhattan. The restaurant offers a mix of the Dominican cuisine she grew up with and other world cuisines she is inspired by. When her eclectic venture fails, she's forced to take a position as a sous chef at a traditional French restaurant owned by Julien Dix, a celebrated chef known for his acid tongue as well as his brilliant smile. After he goes out of his way to bake a tart to prove her wrong in a dispute, she's so irritated by his smug attitude that she vows to herself never to taste his cooking. But after she succumbs to the temptation and takes a bite one day, she's overcome with shocking emotion. She finds herself beginning to crave his cooking and struggling to stay on task with her plan to save up and move on as soon as possible. Meanwhile, Julian's obsessed secretary watches with gnashed teeth as they grow closer and closer and becomes determined to get Lumi out of the way permanently. So, Taste of Sage by Yafi Santos.
So this is the cauliflower.
Honey garlic cauliflower. This is the samosa.
Samosa.
That Holly loves.
Samosa. What is samosa?
So that's a vegetarian. It has potatoes, peas, and
Oh.
And what is the sauces that they get dipped in?
This is cilantro, and this is chutney. That is like a tamarind sweet sauce.
And then the pizza. Oh, it looks like different.
So we did half and half for you ladies, so at least you can try both.
Okay.
We're doing the butter chicken, and then we're doing the aorta pizza.
So my last pick today is The Knockoff by Lucy Sykes and Joe Piazza. This was published in 2015. An outrageously stylish, wickedly funny novel of fashion in the digital age. The Knockoff is the story of Imogene Tate, editor-in-chief of Glossy magazine, who finds her 20-something former assistant, Eve Morton, plotting to knock Imogen off her pedestal, take over her job, and reduce the magazine, famous for its lavish 768-page September issue, into an app. When Imogen returns to work at Glossy after 6 months away, she can barely recognize her own magazine. Eve, fresh out of the Harvard Business School, has fired the gray hairs, put the managing editor in the supply closet. Oh boy. Stopped using the landlines and hired a bevy of manicured and questionably attired underlings who text and tweet their way through the meetings. Imogen, darling of the fashion world, may have Alexander Wang and Diane Fensterberg and speed dial, but she can't tell Facebook from Foursquare, and once got her iPhone stuck in Japanese for 2 days. Under Eve's reign, Glossy is rapidly becoming a digital sweatshop. Hackathons rage at night, girls who sleep get fired, and fun means mandatory. company-wide coordinated dances to Beyonce. Wildly out of her depth, Imogen faces a choice. Pack up her Smithson notebooks and quit, or channel her inner geek and take on Eve to save both the magazine and her career. A glittering, uproariously sharply drawn story filled with thinly veiled fashion personalities, The Knockoff is an insider's look at the ever-changing world of fashion and the fabulous romp of her internet-addicted age.
Oh boy, fun pick.
Kind of fits the AI theme, too.
There you go. My last pick is When Women Ran Fifth Avenue by Julie Satow, published back in 2024. It's a glittering, glamorous portrait of the golden age of American department stores and of three visionary women who led them, from the award-winning author of The Plaza. The American department store, a palace of consumption that epitomized modern consumerism. Every wish could be met under that one roof. Afternoon tea, a stroll through the latest fashions, a wedding or funeral planned. It was a place where women, shopper and shop girl alike, could stake out a newfound independence. Whether you were in New York, Chicago, or on Main Street, USA, men owned the buildings, but inside, the women ruled. So, and in this book, journalist Julie Satow draws back the curtain on three American women. It's Hortense Udlum of Bonwit Teller, Dorothy Shaver of Lord & Taylor, and Geraldine Stutz of Henri Bendel's, and how they took risks and innovated and competed at various levels. These women made 20th century department stores a mecca for women of every age, every social class, and every ambition. This stylish account, rich with personal drama and trade secrets, captures the department stores in all their glitz, decadence, and fun, and showcases those three women who made that beautifully curated world go round. So, sounds kind of like a fun pick, actually. Yeah. When Women Ran Fifth Avenue.
Women should run the world. Well, we hope if you're inspired by fashion, that you will come to the fashion show on February 28th. Tickets are for sale online, or you can come to the library and you can have some of this delicious food that IVR is going to have. They're going to have 4 different kinds of things that you can sample, including this lovely pizza that we
had. 2 different flavors of pizza on this one, the buttered chicken and the alouette. Delicious, both.
Delicious. She's the owner has told us that you do not have to go to 4 restaurants when you come here. You can have like different flavors from different parts of the world right here.
She's got fusion down pat. This has all been delicious. We've got Barani rice. We've had the honey garlic cauliflower. We've had samosas. It's been a very wonderful lunch. We thank IVR for hosting us and letting us come out and film. We're excited to have them at the fashion show with us. Jill and I thank you for watching our videos. You can find us on the Kimberly Public Library website, YouTube channel, and Facebook page. And I'm just going to say this is my second to last video. I'll see you one more time, and then I'm retiring. So we're going to end with retirement books for me. So thank you for watching, and thank you to IVR. Bye-bye. Bye.